later this year. We've already opened up a program in India this past year, both Bangalore and Gurgaon, and we have other locations that are in the pipeline. So super excited about the direction of GSV. One of the things that is really exciting about what we do is we really try to stand at the intersection of both kind of the startup ecosystem as well as the corporate world. So in addition to the 185 plus startups that we work with, we have many corporate partners like Cisco, like 3M, like JetBlue.
Right.
That
Can I
also
have your
call
phone?
GSV
To give you a link.
and we're able to make those connections.
I cannot send it from
on
you.
behalf of our startups as well as our partners. But what is it that we really trying to do at GSV Labs is really about creating an opportunity for both our startups and our corporate partners to kind of stay ahead of the innovation curve. We have 5 key labs that we work with at Labs. There's education technology, there's mobile, there's big data, there's entertainment, there's sustainability. But what's really exciting to us is kind of what we call the mega trends of the future, and looking at some of those kind of more horizontal technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, blockchain, that we feel are going to really disrupt all of these more traditional legacy verticals moving forward. And while we typically call them mega trends, for the purpose of this analogy, I'll call them waves. And this is my daughter Adrian, who's in the crowd this evening. It's actually her 15th birthday, so can we all say happy birthday to her?
Share it from your wall, and from your wall you can have the link.
And so, like to truly try to describe what we do at GSV Labs, this picture kind of reminded me of what we're trying to accomplish. So when Adrian was, she's now 15, she's no longer this small. But when she was this age, we would go out in the water and we would kind of wait for that next wave to come, and then she'd try to jump on and try to ride that wave. And ones that we thought were going to be a big wave didn't end up being a big wave, and you started to get a little bit frustrated about really trying to time the wave and et cetera. And I think as we think about GSV Labs, there are obviously these waves that are happening throughout kind of technology and industry. And what we try to do is jump into the water, like with my daughter, alongside startups, alongside corporates, and help them understand, okay, when are the waves coming? What are some opportunities that they can see, to take advantage of what could be a disruption and really look at it as an opportunity. So as these startups get up here, before you and start telling their story, what we hope to do and what we've been doing with them over the last 3 months is coming alongside them, not riding the surfboard for them, but being a support, having our mentors, having our investors give them advice and support as they go along their journey, so that they can catch that next wave and reach that milestone that they're looking for. So really excited to allow you to hear from them. It's been a great journey over these last 3 months. We're super excited about the progress that they made over that time. I think you'll be really impressed by their pitches tonight. But before we dive in, I would be remiss without kind of acknowledging where we are. We're at Google, thanks to our partners at the Google Developer Launchpad, and that's Dan Feld, who we started this partnership. Gosh, we're about a year now, and this is our 3rd cohort. And the great thing about Dan and the great thing about Google is that we presented an idea, we wanted to make something happen, we realized that we could mutually benefit one another, and it was like, how do we get this done and just move forward? And now we have 450 people here to hear from our startups, and that's thanks in large part to Dan and the team here at Google. So I would like to bring Dan up, and please give him a round of applause.
Good evening. And at this point, allow me to say the traditional welcome to Google. We are extremely excited to see everyone here, and Marlon was so nice in his compliments, but this is truly a teamwork. Every person that sits here today is an important part of the ecosystem, and the hard work is first of all and foremost to connect. For us, is to connect the different parts of the ecosystem and to enable the startups, the entrepreneurs, the developers to do the best they can. And before I'll start telling you a little bit about who are we, why are we, and what's the team is doing, I want to talk a little bit about the ecosystem. We're all using the word ecosystem. So it's so popular, right? But if you think about startups, you can look at so many great places around the world and think about how you want to define the ecosystem in these places, right? From London to different parts of China, to Brazil, to Tel Aviv, to New York, but the Silicon Valley is unique. And any thoughts that can apply to here are valid, but my thoughts here, that you can say that there isn't an ecosystem here. But if there is, what's the definition of it? Is it the women entrepreneur from Tel Aviv that we hosted yesterday in San Francisco? Is that the Chinese startup from Shanghai that came last week for 2 days? Is this these great startups that you're going to see very shortly that came here for 3 months or for a year or for a lifetime? Who is the right part? Who is the most enabling or important part of the ecosystem of Silicon Valley? I would say all of them. Even if you come here for 1 hour, you leave something and you take something. And you take something back to your home country, you inspire other people, you talk about what happened, you come back, and this crazy type of bi-directional energy is here, and that's what fuels this great area. And this is where we come in. At Launchpad, which is the global startup program for Google, our main mission is to drive startup success. Now, this is a big word. We know you heard this before, for many areas, right? But the way we do this is mainly by in-person mentorship. Now, what we want to do is to find the best partners that are working, sourcing, nurturing, and growing startups every day. That's what they do, with or without us. Finding the best entrepreneurs and help them to grow, give them the best chances to succeed. And then we come in. We have built a team of industry-leading mentors. And the leaders of this team here in the Silicon Valley are actually here today. This is Tommaso Di Bartolo, this is Chris Peralta, and this is Joe Morrow, as actually great examples of our top leading mentors here. And I would like to
acknowledge.
The startups that you've seen today did not sleep nights before they came in. But their sleep behavior and graph did not improve when they met these 3 people and other mentors. Because their tendency to ask annoying questions is very visible. But it's not enough to ask questions. And it's not enough to get answers. You need to convert actions to some kind of action items. Now, the type of mentoring programs that we develop and provide and work with our partners to help these startups, dealing with 360 degrees of starting, maintaining a company. From marketing and growth and product and strategy and technology, of course, and how to sell to big companies and anything you can think of. But you can say a lot of things about the needs of a startup. But all of them, especially the early stage ones, are drowning in a lot of white noise. What should I do? What should I focus at? What do I do with so many areas and people that pulling me to different directions? And this is for us what real mentor is. And this is how we think about our mentors. They need to be experts in something. Maybe marketing, maybe strategy, maybe engineering, maybe AI. But they need to understand and come from a deep experience, both life experience and entrepreneurship experience, of what do you do with this white noise. And focus at converting it to priority and to the best decision you can make. And this is for us, I must be right. And this is for us what mentor is, and we using our resources to connect all the players in these big games, the accelerators, the startups, the VCs, and all of them are represented here in this great audience today. So at this point, I wanted to in addition to the mentors, to recognize the person that not only works with me 24/7 to make this all happen with our great partners at GSV, but she's both the reason that we have such a great flow of mentors and content, but also the reason that the lights are on today. And this is Shruti sitting right there. The fact, trust me, the fact that I'm on stage today does not testify to anything, but that I'm on the stage right now. And I would like also to congratulate, thank our mentors, and ask all of them to stand right now. Whoever is in the room right now and has been mentoring with us, please stand. Thank you very much. These people, sometimes we forget, but these people actually have a life and a day job. And it's unacceptable, but they do. And they still working very hard with a lot of passion. And you know what's the KPI, or in the Google terms, OKR for success? I can give you a lot of ways we report internally at Google. But the one thing that is important, and hopefully you're going to see it from in the next 30 seconds, the most important thing is, did we create value? Did we create value? It can be specific value, it can be a lot of value, but did something happen in the time spent? And I'm sure that you'll, so think about it when you're listening to the pitches today and to the introduction. And with that, I think we can move on to the first one. Right, straight. So I'll start with introducing
Mentee.
Our first pitch for today, Mentee. And this is the famous, or the infamous Carl Michael. Now, if you happen to be in a GSV labs at nights, weekends, hours that are considered to be weird, or beyond that,
weird,
and you saw a person with no shoes, can you say shoeless? That's okay?
Shoeless.
That is sitting and typing and getting things done, that would be Carl. And when we met him first, at the first day, we saw the passion, we saw the idea, we saw execution around it. But was it clear what's the business? Was it clear who is the customer that you want to go on first? Today, after only 3 months, it's not just that there is a clear value proposition defined, as you will see in just 10 seconds, but there is growth. There is real growth. And with that, please accept Carl Michael. Thank you.
actually wore shoes today, so I dress up for you guys. So, I'm Carmichael Caldwell, co-founder and CEO of Mentee, which is a mentorship software that works with universities to connect mentors and mentees and streamline the communication between them. Today, there is a 1 to 2,000 career professional to student ratio, which makes it nearly impossible for career professionals to add tremendous value to these students. In fact, only 16% of students and alumni say they're gaining tremendous value from their organization. I mean, look at this. They're using very cumbersome and outdated spreadsheets to maintain this information. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you updated your information at your university? These spreadsheets are inefficient, ineffective, but most of all, unscalable. And we're not the only ones saying this. Even higher education professionals are saying career services must die. We're not saying they must go away. No. They just want to do more, or they're challenged to do more with less resources. So what we did in Mentee was really built a mentorship software that kind of bridges that gap between career services and alumni affairs to provide an actionable way to re-engage those alumni and also better equip their students for career success. So now that student can sign up, log in, and get a quantified percentage of compatibility to that mentor, apply to that mentorship, and then engage in that mentorship within our platform via voice or video chat. Now, our team has been hyper-focused on really understanding these pain points and ultimately building a sales pipeline. So far, we have 7 universities committed to our fall launch, with some of those are converted pilots, and 50 sales qualified leads. Now, I'm sure you're asking, what does that mean for the business? Well, we're leveraging our penetration pricing strategy to really, with our first 50 universities, which will ultimately allow us to reach $250,000 annually. Now, we're locking these universities in for 3 to 5 years to ultimately overcome customer acquisition costs and mitigate churn. Now, this is the secret. How are we different? Well, we take a really behavioral and social approach to really get our mentors and mentees to that first match faster, keep those interactions within our platform, and then facilitate it with our 60-minute mentorship, which is basically a guided mentorship from end to end with different tips and questions so we can define the way they interact. As we continue to build out, we're building out our project-based module so these students can now build the skills necessary to be extremely competitive for these internships and jobs while still maintaining and growing their professional network. Our team, we're dedicated, we're committed, but most of all, we're obsessed with defining the way mentorship is done. Myself, I come from a sales background and I've built apps with over 100,000 users. Trent, it comes from an investment banking background and brings a very strategic and behavioral focus and really understanding why these mentors and mentees are connected. Sam, well, he's the brains behind the tech piece. He's really building the foundation for Mentee to scale seamlessly as we continue to attack the market. So today, we're raising $500,000 via SAFE to reach very clear milestones for our fall launch, reach 200 universities, and ultimately build the foundation in helping us get to $15 million in revenue. Now, if you are passionate about defining the way mentorship is done, come see us after this. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. How are you guys here? I think you can do better. Come on, let's. Again, how are you doing tonight? I want to thank the Google team, the GSV team, and I'm part of this activity, this initiative. And who of you guys has a startup here in the audience? Yeah, raise your hands. Okay, second question. Who of you has pivoted within 12 weeks and started from A to Z? Raise your hands. And that's exactly whom I want to introduce. Srinivas and Dan at Geogram. Srinivas, Dan, I remember 12 weeks ago, first time conversation we had, you were saying, I have 2 decades, Tommaso, of knowledge in the space of movies, right? And Dan was saying, I'm a pro in VR and AR, and we want to put this passion into a project. So we have a technology, and then the question was, what do we do with it, right? And then we started, going into what is your business case? Who is your competition, right? And what is the business model behind it? And I'm really proud to say what you guys have achieved within 12 weeks, how you guys have been really focusing on. And not only, you internally focusing on your project, but, the best proof on Sunday, seeing you guys on NBC. And I don't know what I add more and reveal more. Please join me on a big round of applause. Srinivas and
And thank you. So happy to be here. I'm going to start by asking you a question. How many here have seen the Twin Towers? Not online, but with your eyes. Say yes.
Yes.
All right. How many here have seen or been to the 911 Memorial Ground Zero? Raise your hands. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful place, isn't it? When I was there, I saw people taking photos, shooting video, and we were all trying to capture a moment when we were feeling like, we were coming together emotionally, participating in the stories of this place. We felt like we belonged. And that all happened offline. Being the person that I am, I had to ask, well, how do we recreate this feeling online? Well, I think we have to admit that when it comes to connecting us to reality, today's solutions are, let us say, just a little broken. Can you, honestly claim that you know what it feels like to be at Ground Zero without never having stepped foot there just because you saw it on Facebook? You can't, can you? Not with today's tools. But with Geogram, you can. That's what Geogram does. It's an app that leverages augmented and virtual reality technology to enable you to add and enrich a place with the stories, events, and emotions that belong there, so that anyone who follows you will experience it, but they're really there. Now, that's a tall claim, and you don't have to take my word for it, but I'm going to share with you what NBC says about the value that Geogram brings to people's lives.
Now here in Orlando, when you hold your phone up with the Geogram app and you're in a spot like the parking lot of the Pulse nightclub, there, floating right in virtual space, videos. At the mural, a message from a mother who lost a child.
He wanted to be a star.
And now he is a star in heaven.
In the parking lot of the Pulse nightclub, a survivor tells of her final contact with her girlfriend who died inside the club.
She never gave up.
It maintains the emotion and all of the feeling that comes with it.
And that is important because?
It's absolutely important because nobody should ever forget what happened here.
That was just 96 hours ago. And in those 96 hours, a lot happened. We're getting traction, and we have momentum. And as we grow our user base, we'll make money by selling advertising, and more importantly, data. Data that's valuable because it's not only references consumers at a location, but also the content that matters to them when they're there. I, for the past 5 years, have ran a very successful AR/VR agency, and our CTO, Dan Mills, was the inventor and co-founder of BubbleCam, the world's first consumer VR camera. We are here to raise a small round in a safe. I'd love to talk to you about it after. Now, before I go, I'm just going to share a thought with you. Now, the next time you go to Orlando, you may or may not visit Pulse, but you will most likely go to Disney World. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to have amazing experiences there. Know that with Geogram, you can augment Disney World with your memories and share them so that you can visit them time and again with anyone who will follow you to that place. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Amiri with JSP Labs.
Woo!
I have the privilege of working with each of the teams that you see here tonight, and I'm really excited about our next presenter, Bhumi with Interim Market. She's coming in from London, England, and she can be found, even though she was part of the program, she was back in England and participating remotely, dialing into our calls, and so that's an 8-hour difference. She'll hop off our calls, and then sleep for a couple hours and hop on with her dev team in India. So she's a master of different time zones, and she's so passionate. She's actually, a fun fact about Bhumi, she's a 3-time national martial arts champion.
Whoa! Oh shit!
Another fun fact, she never sweats. So I'm really eager to bring her on stage. Here's Bhumi with Interim Market.
Hi guys.
Oops.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. So my name is Bhumi. I'm the founder and CEO of Interim Market.
Oh God, I love that accent.
Talent management platform. And within the next 3 minutes, I will tell you exactly why we are the next generation platform. Now, did you know that 94% of organizations and hiring managers are now more willing to hire contractors compared to just 5 years ago? And this trend is on the growth because predictions say that by 2030, 60% of US workforce will be contracting, which is huge. And millennials like us are pushing that trend even more. We love the flexibility. There are a few more data points here, but what I want to drag your attention to, if I could through this, is on the 40% independent contractors. Because for us, that is our key target market. We are only focused on full-time independent contractors. Now that target market is important for us because not only are they highest contributor within the gig economy, but they're also the most underserved at this stage. That's a bit shocking. Now, over the past 2 years, I have been speaking with hundreds of clients and contractors to understand that the problem I was facing as a contractor and a recruiter of contractor was real or not. To my surprise, it is a very real problem with a few very emerging challenges. So in order to make this a bit more relatable, I will give you an example of one of our beta clients that we're onboarding imminently in the UK. Their 3 key challenges have been insufficiency with speed and costs and current processes, a very manual process and intervention through third parties, and lack of data, because that prevents them from making some very key business decisions. Now they're an SMB and they recruit, hire and manage anything from 100 contractors upward. So that for them is a pretty huge task. How we're solving this at Interim Market is literally giving that little guy the equipment and the tools through the platform automated in the way of an employer's hub, where not only can they onboard their current contractors, but also rehire at a click of a button and hire from similar talent through our profiling and skills matching. Further, backed by data analytics. So as soon as they go back in their hub, all the insights are there for them to put into reports and make key decisions. As the platform continues to mature, we're hoping to inject machine learning to make it even more brilliant. The team, that's Prashant, my co-founder, and that's me. He usually does look like that every time I'm talking in the first picture. I have no idea why that is. But I do think I'm the funny one out of the 2 of us, and he doesn't think so. So that's a debatable topic. Apart from our expertise, skills, and backgrounds in academics, we focus and we drive Interim Market through passion, purpose, and integrity. We are the catalysts of change in this sector, and we know that. And so we're very flexible and mindful of the fact that we will have to change as the company changes. So far, we have been bootstrapped, but we've achieved some great success. We're here today as part of GSV, so that's brilliant. We are also now part of SAP Foundry, which we started earlier this month, and we have real beta clients in the UK that we're working with. In the US, we're seeking for some paid clients and seed funding. So if you can help us with either of those, please come talk to me. I hope you're having a great evening, and thank you.
That was so neat and polite.
Next up, Runbuck. Oliver Wand is an excellent representation of a founder that came in, and I remember the day that Marlon and Bobby and all the mentors were sitting there, and it was clear. The idea comes from the heart, from the stomach, and from the mind. He knows it because he's the user of it. He knows it because he wants to solve the problem. He's a professional athlete. He's a runner. He knows exactly what's missing. Maybe he has an app already, but it's not enough. Remember the cloud of white noise? Chris Peralta was leading that mentorship process. And what's the first stage was to crystallize what's important. Who is it that we're going to speak with? What's the action item that you need to do in terms of building a business model and to create and to ensure that somebody is using it, aka growth. And 3 months later, there is traction, there is growth, there is a positive trend of people using it more and more every day. I present you Oliver.
Hello everyone, my name is Oliver, the founder of Runbuck, and I'm a runner. Seriously, I have run 5 marathons. So let me ask, how many of you have run a 5K, 10K, or even marathon? Hands up, please. Great, quite some people. So you may think running 26 miles is difficult. It's true. But I found planning marathon trips can be more difficult. No, you know what? I'm a travel expert for over a decade. So no wonder it's even a bigger problem for many of my friends. You see, it's a big problem for many other marathon runners, right? And we've also noticed that there's a huge gap between amateur runners and elite runners. And these problems represent a huge market opportunity. For China alone, sports tourism is $31 billion and growing fast because China has an exploding middle class and running has become a fashion, a lifestyle. That's why we built Runbuck. It's a platform for runners to plan their marathon trips and book activities with the elite runners. And we have human agents to help with the reservation, and we are developing artificial intelligence to give personalized recommendations. We have also our own trips to some of the best marathons on the planet, including the North Pole Marathon, the Antarctic Marathon, or 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. And by the way, we have the exclusivity for the Chinese market for these 3 trips. We can also take you to any other marathons between the Arctic and the Antarctic. So you can spend $46,000 on one trip or $20 on one activity. And we have 20% margin from our trips. We have already established strong partnership with some of the best marathon events in the world and growing. And we have the affiliation program with the elite runners. We are doing running tourism today. We'll do sports tourism tomorrow. So we have $90,000 revenue in the 2nd quarter this year from 600 registered runners. And running is likely to last a long time because people just run one marathon after another one, like I do. And I'm also a travel expert for over a decade, as you know. My whole team are passionate about running and technology. The investor from last year is from China. He runs 26 miles in under 3 hours. So we have happy elite runners, we have happy amateur runners, and we are looking for a happy investor that can give us $1 million. So we can grow our customer base, grow our team, and own our own running events. Thank you very much, and that's Runbuck. By the way, if you are not running yet, you should start today. Thank you.
Wow, such a great pitch. Right in spot.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Peralta. I'm an EIR here at GSV Labs.
EIR?
And I've had the honour to mentor some of these startups which they've been pitching. And aren't they doing a fantastic job, guys? So our next presenter is sort of like a long-lost brother of mine. He's lived in 8 different cities around the world. I've done 6. He has a Filipino surname, but he's not Filipino. Just like me, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur as a kid. And we've both watched our father build something from scratch to something, right? But one of his superhero traits that I want to mention is his perseverance. This is an important trait of a founder, and this is something that our next speaker epitomizes this key thing. So give it up for Alfonso from Rosca.
Hey everybody. Thank you for those kind words, my long lost brother. So hi, as he mentioned, my name is Alfonso and I'm a co-founder of Rosca Finance. So I moved back to the US around 2 years ago, and I lived overseas for about a decade, helping international banks set up joint ventures in China. But when I moved back, I realized I need 2 things. 1, a place to live. 2, a car to drive around. Unfortunately for me, I was unqualified for both, which to me was ridiculous because I've been in banking for over 15 years. Right? But it goes to show how easy it is for someone to mess up their credit here in the US. You know, you're late for a bill here, you miss a payment there, or like me, you kind of live off the grid because you never thought you would need your credit history. And the truth is, I'm not alone. 57% of American adults, that's 57% of all of you, have mismanaged your finance in some way. And because of this situation, collectively, okay, the number is gone, but we've paid over $60 billion a year in short-term financing for in 2015. Now this brings us back to a very serious question. How do you get credit without credit history? But how do you build your credit history without the ability to get credit? And this catch-22 is kind of what we're trying to solve at Rosca Finance. We're building a community for short-term savings and credit. A community that encourages our members to help one another resolve their financial needs. And research has proven that saving within a community will triple your likelihood of reaching your financial goals. Now, our platform is based on a proven, centuries-old community savings model that is still currently in use today. It's known as a Rotating Savings and Credit Association, or ROSCA. And we've taken this model and redesigned it. We've used technology to mitigate its inherent flaws and created a web platform that allows us to connect everybody in the United States to create a virtual community. And we leverage the power of this community to allow you to borrow cheaper, save faster, and invest better. And now, as a member of Equifax, all of your activity on our platform will be reported to the credit agencies. So, imagine building your credit not just through borrowing money, piling on more debt anymore, but actually through saving and investing your own money. And this message is resonating. Our platform is live, and we have been growing 20% week over week for the past 12 weeks. And our members have transacted over 1,500 times and collectively saved over $65,000 in the process. Now, we earn money servicing these transactions. And our team, we're a team of ex-bankers and engineers who have decades of experience under our belts. And we're really looking to make an impact in the current financial system. So now, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. And be the change that you guys so often talk about, but perhaps never truly acted on. We have been bootstrapped up until now, and we're raising $600,000, with $200,000 already committed to help us expedite the growth of our community for the next 6 months. So, come join us at Rosca Finance and help your community rehabilitate their financial health. Thank you. Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool.
So next speaker coming up, Austin at Impact Ed. In preparation of short recap, I was thinking as a mentor, as an advisor over the last 12 weeks, what was the highlight? I remember the first conversation we had, and he was like, oh, Tommaso, I want to connect corporates and the executives and the lack of innovation they have with the brains that we have here at the universities, right? I said, well, that's an awesome idea. So what's your product? And he opens up his laptop and he shows me a PDF which was showing a recap about the first project that he ran. I say, okay, here is some work to do. And then we started working about what's the product, what is the value proposition of the product, what is the monetization model that he can bring, right? And one big compliment to Austin at Impact Ed is, to me, he was like a sponge. Whatever we basically really broke down, he was absorbing and, the most important thing, executing towards it. And one of the key KPIs that he achieved, within 2 weeks, once we started growth hacking, he grew his pipeline 8 times.
Wow.
And I don't want to, tell more. Austin, Impact Ed, hold on, not clapping. I say 3, 2, 1, and then we say Impact Ed. 3, 2, 1, together.
Impact Ed! Woo!
It was my first day of college, and I felt like I had made it. I'd packed my bags, moved from a town of a few thousand people to a campus of more than 30,000. I was never going to have to go back to my old construction job because college was going to make me a career man. And then I stepped inside a college classroom and realized just how dangerous this assumption was. This old form of traditional education would never give me the skills I needed to compete in today's workforce. My professors were so stretched thin that they just recycled old assignments from one course to the next. So once I realized that my learning would not take place inside the classroom, I did everything I could to find real-world experiences off campus. But now I wonder, how many students have fallen through the cracks because the education they paid for did not prepare them to be successful once it was over? 7 in 10 seniors do not feel that college has prepared them for their careers. By their accounts, universities are failing to provide students with a valuable education. But this is where we come in. Impact Ed is the marketplace that connects educators and students in university classrooms with projects for real-world organizations. We start out by matching partner projects with relevant courses at participating universities. Now, when a professor selects the project they want to take on, their students are directed to the Impact Ed digital workspace, and there they can explore their assignment and collaborate with peers and partners to solve it. During a recent pilot, right before this accelerator started, more than 50 management students helped Swedish electric utilities to design a more sustainable business model for the digital age. This project took place at the University of Gothenburg, and we were able to increase student engagement by 22% while empowering students to strengthen 21st century skills. Moving forward, our mission is to bring this type of real-world, project-based learning into classrooms at scale. And this mission may be impact-based, but is financially geared. So organizations pay us to tap into a new pool of talent. Universities pay to access projects and tools to better educate their students. And today, we are designing the future of higher education with top undergraduate business programs at target universities. And at the same time, we are creating new projects for them to teach with organizations like NASA, PwC, and RED. Together, all of these relationships carry $1.6 million in annual revenue opportunity, and we found them all within the last 3 months. But tomorrow is an even better story. The total market for connecting universities to real-world organizations is $7.4 billion, and you can bet your bottom dollar that our team is ready to take it on. Our recent accomplishments range from developing platforms for Intel to creating a 30 million euro innovation pipeline for Unilever to co-founding one of Denmark's largest candy stores. But before we move forward, I want to leave you with a thought. Imagine looking back 15 years from today at the ideas that truly did use technology for good. We will look at those which connected people and knowledge across borders to move society forward. Impact Ed will educate the leaders of tomorrow to become competent and conscious professionals, connecting them with organizations that are solving challenges today. The potential of our model has already been recognized at a high level by the United Nations, the G20, UNESCO, and now we're looking for partners here to help us take it even further. We're raising a seed round, so any investors in the space, feel free to come talk afterwards. We have a few spots left open for companies that want to collaborate with top students for our fall program, and we'd love to talk to anyone who wants to make education more real. Thank you.
Awesome! Awesome!
Neat,
clean.
So for our last two pitches, they're going to come to us through our partner organization. I just wanted to acknowledge quickly. Valero is an ecosystem connector based out of Jalisco, Mexico. So our next presenter is Juan with a company called Roomyville, and he came out to Silicon Valley several weeks ago, and since he's been here, he's been like a sponge, very coachable, willing to learn. I know that he realizes this is a very unique opportunity. He's certainly taken full advantage of his time here in Silicon Valley. So here's Juan with Roomyville.
How's everyone doing? Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. Well, my name is Juan, and I'm co-founder and part of the team of Roomyville, the easiest way to share bills between your roommates. So, we were thinking before the pitch, we strongly think that all of us here have something in common, and that is, we don't like dealing with service bills, right? So, it gets even more complicated when you actually need to split that bill. So what about when you're splitting that bill with someone you already share an apartment with? Things start getting a little more complex. So the traditional way would be, you gather the bills, you collect the bills, you get the total amount, you divide it to your roommates, you go and ask for money, and then you go and pay the bills. But nobody wants to do that, am I right? Somebody want to do it? No. All right. So that's where Roomyville comes in. We allow you to create a group, invite roomies to it. We allow you to add services to it, so everybody in the group knows which services the apartment has. We also give you a total amount when you give us all of your bills, so you can know like one easy to pay amount, and you make sure we pay all of your services. And this is where it gets more interesting. So you can decide if you split the bill with a fixed amount or a percentage by roommate. And then you pay. And that's it. We already paid all your services with just one button from you. Yeah. So with these 4 easy steps, we solved those problems we talked about. And we actually make money out of it, of course. We charge $1 commission per transaction per service. And we know there's competition. We think we stand out, not just because of the services I already talked to you about, but also because of our partnerships. We have partnerships with the top 4 universities in the country and the service providers, top service providers from the country. We have signed agreements with them to receive our payments. On our private beta, we have 250 users and $50,000 transaction amount. For our go-to-market, we have the official app release and an ongoing schedule with universities and fraternities. So who's doing all that? We are a team of very driven, capable, and well-connected people from the top universities in engineering, business strategy from Mexico. In order to do that,
we are looking to close our seed round, of which we already raised $150,000, and we are looking to raise $200,000 more. That should be $300,000, not $500,000. So, if you want to have a chat, please join me at my booth. It will be great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Nico.
Juan.
Nico.
Don't start smoking now, Nico.
All right.
Smoking on stage.
All right. So when I first met the next startup, there was this energy. But not just with him. When all three combined, wow. Strength in numbers, go Dubs. So, but you know, this is important because this guy, our next presenter, in Spanish, the superhero quality is called El Imbatible.
Oh.
Which means the unbeatable.
Oh.
He's like an Energizer bunny that just keeps coming. Welcome on stage, Nicholas from Marketing.
Woo!
Good evening to everyone. Well, here I'm going to share with all of you how we are changing addictive behaviors by using technology. Very Silicon Valley style. So everybody knows that addictions are a very old business, a huge business in the world. So the technology, that's not new. The technology we are developing will help cover tobacco consumption, alcoholic consumption, sugar and shark food consumption, All of this, not only that, also opioids and other addictive behaviors like, well, I'm saying, When we started this project, Christian, one of the co-founders, was smoking at that time, and he has asthma. So that's when we decided to focus on one behavior, tobacco consumption. So we asked him, why are you smoking? He said, just a simple question that everybody knows. It's super hard to quit. I know it doesn't help me, but I don't know how to quit. So that's why we created Mindcotin. Mindcotin is the first accessible global solution to help any smoker in the world to be ready to quit the habit. We combine the latest technology with very proven psychological techniques that have been there forever. Like 30 years ago, virtual reality was already been doing cessation programs to tobacco consumption. We combine them with mindfulness, exposure therapy, all together to show the behavior, the relationship of the behavior the addict has toward his addiction. So there are new perspectives he will learn through the program. So easy for a smoker here in Oakland, at the same time a smoker in Shanghai, to access the program, download the app, get just a cardboard headset, and start a 2-week program. 10 minutes training in the morning, 10 minutes training in the night, and during the day, a community support that will help him get through and get ready to kick the habit. We envision this model not because we have proved it, because tobacco industry already proved it to be super successful, highly accessible, very low price. So imagine the problem, the tobacco industry, the cigarettes there in every 7-Eleven, the solution next to the problem. So you will find the Mindcotin kit where the smoker goes and buys the next package of cigarette. In order to take this solution to a global stage, we're a very solid team. Why? Because we know each other forever. We are very old friends from the same kindergarten in Argentina, which life got us together in this new venture because we complement each other super perfectly. I'm a biomedical engineer with a lot of expertise in medical devices. Emilio, who is a psychologist and meditational practitioner, been doing this for 6 years. And Christian, who is a successful virtual reality developer, has an agency in Mexico. the three of us got together into this venture because we have one common purpose. We have a meaningful project life, and this is mango team. In these 3 months, we not only started this project, we started an ongoing clinical research with 2 universities in Argentina and Mexico with very promising early results. Some of the volunteers are getting less tobacco consumption in 1 week with only 1 content. We already have more than 500 pre-sold kits from our Kickstarter campaign that is live now. Support us. From 20 different countries, and we are all over the media with more than 100 mentions. Why? Because there's a need out there. So now, when people ask me what you do, I can say Google it. Since I started this presentation, till this moment, 60 people have just died because of tobacco consumption. Again, 60 people, and keep on counting. So we are opening a seed round of investment to take this solution to the next level. So let's stop talking and start having meaningful conversation. Join us and come to our table after this. Thank you so much.
Believe it or not, we are done with the pitch tonight. We hope, give us just 2 more minutes, we want to conclude here. We honestly hope that that was a good use of your time. The team worked very, very hard in making sure that this flows in the right way, and it wouldn't happen without the people that I want to mention. Jackson from Google here on the audio and video, that was flawless. Thank you very much. And Megan and Tara, and of course Marlon and Bobby and Shruti and all the mentors here and the EIRs, Tommaso and Chris and Joe and Dan Koo, which is one of our top mentors. And especially to you, thank you very much for coming and spending the night with us. We are asking the teams and the mentors to come up for a picture, and see you next time. Thank you very much.
Unas palabras, Fer, para el auditorio. Ya se hizo más chiquito, a la mitad, pero ahí está Ángel, ahí está Vic.
Bueno, es para, mira, aquí tuvimos la presencia de los startups compitiendo México con el mundo, que es lo que, demostrando el talento de México y de Latinoamérica que pueden competir. Contento porque las startups creo que tienen un buen proyecto, traen muy clara su meta, y eso es importante para el grupo, especialmente lo que Valero pretende promover en Latinoamérica y aquí en Estados Unidos.
Perfecto.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Fer. Gracias. Vamos para allá. Di algo, Chino, te están mandando a llamar, güey.
¿Quién me está mandando a llamar?
El auditorio.
¡Woo! Google. Ángel, ¿qué onda, Ángel? ¿Qué onda, Ángel? ¿Cuánto vamos a ver por acá? Date una vuelta. Ya hace calor, ahora sí ya hace calor. Y yo estoy enfermo, Estoy enfermizo.
Todo chido. ¿Qué onda? Dice Ángel. Todo chido.
Quítate.
Quítate.
estuvo más rápido, El Javi. El Javi.
Yeah. ¿Qué onda, muchachones?
Unas palabras, Javi. ¿Tú qué piensas de este cohort versus el otro? Sabemos que tú tenemos dos participantes del cohort pasado.
Tres,
de hecho.
Tres participantes del cohort pasado.
Los roomies que sobreviven aquí
que seguimos acá en Silicon Valley, quién sabe por qué.
Chameando.
Ventas.
Sales fix.
Sales fix everything.
Sales fix everything. Ahí dice Ángel, saludos, dice Avena. Muéstranos tus pecs.
Pectorales.
Muéstranos tus.
No, carnal.
Se está muriendo.
Tuberculosis de Silicon Valley.
La fiebre amarilla. La fiebre amarilla. Me está llevando.
Ha estado sobreviviendo, no sabemos cómo lo ha hecho, pero.
Me está llevando el payaso.
Cabrón.
Íbamos a tener un sacerdote. La presión, el estrés lo estaba.
Para que vean que no es broma. Para que vean que no es broma.
Ya toma chinolín, ya no es broncolín. Ya...
Estas son las de hoy.
Ok, ahí está. Bien. Dice Víctor, Chino George ya los hacía con los inversionistas en Infraganti. ¿Cuáles?
Aquí viene puro high school. Ya lo cerramos.
Ya nos dimos cuenta, Vic.
Llegamos temprano a comer, a tomarnos una chela. Bueno, yo no tomé. Y a cerrar a los inversionistas. Ya lo cerramos. Ya se acabó esto. De aquí nos vamos a festejar. Al DEPA a hacernos unas quesadillas.
Dejen de grabar y váyanse a buscar inversionistas, dice Ángel. Sobres. We're out.
Bye.
Michael T.